Hey weirdos! So today I am joined by my little friend here. This is the newest member of my family. Aw, hey baby. And today I am going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. This tag was created by two individuals, and that is by EmmaAbe Books and Chammy. I'm not really sure what's up with Chammy's channel. That video has been taken down or something, but it's no longer available. Very hot in here, so if you hear something in the background, that's probably the fan. So there's 13 questions, and let's just get straight into the question. The first question is, what has been your favorite book this year so far? And that would probably have to go to The Only Plane in the Sky, An Oral History of 9/11 by Garrett M. Graff. I really liked this. This was a really good book. I've read it twice now this year, and I also highly recommend the audiobook. I don't really want to talk too specifically about my feelings because this is in the running for the BookTube prize. Second question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far? So I haven't been reading a lot of series lately. I've started a couple of series, but I've not gone to the second book in this series. So the only series I've really been reading this year is Percy Jackson's series and the Heroes of Olympus series. Also, to me, sequel means the second book in the series. I don't think Sea of Monsters is a particularly super strong sequel to The Lightning Thief. I mean, it's good. I still like it. It introduces characters like Tyson, who I really like. And the other book that would be included is The Son of Neptune, which is the second book in the Heroes of Olympus series. And I've been really liking the Heroes of Olympus series. That's the only other sequel that I've really read that could really count. So there you go. Third question is a new release you haven't read yet. So I just want to say I don't keep up with new releases and what's coming out at any given time. So for this question and the next question, I was doing a lot of internet digging. But for this one, I found one that has been constantly catching my attention, and that is Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson. And he wrote The Devil in the White City, and I haven't actually read this book yet, but I want to, and it's been on my list for a very long time. And I've heard good things about this and the writing, so I've been just kind of, in general, interested in Erik Larson's work. I do think The Splendid and the Vile talks about Churchill. So I'm not so sure I'm super interested in the subject material, but will I find it interesting? Yes. Fourth is, what is the most anticipated book release for the second half of the year? So I had a hard time finding releases in the second half of 2020. Maybe that's due to coronavirus and publishers just aren't going to be publishing things as normal. I'm not sure. Let me know your theories in the comments down below. I did find one, though, that did seem really, really interesting to me. That is AOC, The Fearless Rise and Powerful Resonance of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by Lyndon Lopez. I think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a very interesting and fascinating woman working in politics today. I didn't know there was a book coming out about her, so it makes me very excited that there is a book coming out about her. And then I heard on a blurb somewhere that it's very similar to Notorious RBG, so I'm just a very big fan of this type of book genre when it comes to women and people in general, but specifically women and powerful women being in the American government. Fifth is the biggest disappointment. So there's a couple books that I think were disappointing. They're books that I didn't like. Some of the books that I was reading, I wasn't expecting much out of them, so the fact that they weren't good or I didn't like them a whole ton, it wasn't disappointing at all. And then you have books that I just didn't like Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I knew I wasn't going to like that when I entered reading that book, so it wasn't disappointing or wasn't surprising that I didn't like it. And then the books like House of Hades, I found that one disappointing, but it wasn't the most disappointing. The most disappointing one I read was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I just didn't get the hype. People were hyping this up as this really cute story, and I honestly found it boring. I was just sitting there and just I don't think that running around this pumpkin patch and reading about them eat snacks and running into exes as compelling or interesting as a story. I do kind of like the end, what happened there. I was just this is boring, and I didn't care for it too much. So I think because of all of the hype surrounding it, it just was disappointing to me. 7th is Biggest Surprise, and for me, that one took a little bit, but I came up with the answer of High School by Tegan Quinn and Sarah Quinn. They are twins, and I was not expecting much out of this book. I didn't really know what to expect. I found it really captivating. I think the story of these two twins that just experience in high school, growing up, and finding their love for music, and basically the start, not the origin, of their career, because that isn't really the scope. It's more of just how they fell in love with music, but it's really, really more focused on their high school life, which I found really interesting. And I think the audio for this is really good because you actually get to hear some of their early music, and music is very important in their relationship as sisters and also in high school. Next question is favorite author. This can be debut or new to you, and so for me, that would have to be Zhong Cheng. She wrote Wild Swans, and I read this relatively recently, and I loved it, and I'm so excited to read some of her other work. She's written a couple other books about China and like Chinese history. One example being, I'm super excited to get into this biography of Mao. She's an author that really stood out to me this year that I've. Next is newest fictional crush. That is a weird question for me to answer because that's not how that works for me. If that makes any sense, I don't really develop crushes on people that I don't actually meet. It's like I can really like a character and I can really root for a character, but it's not a crush in the sense of a crush. Plus just it's just very complicated. It's too difficult to really explain. I just don't really want to get into how like attraction works for me. Hi baby. Do you want attention? Yeah. Next is newest favorite character. So I kind of have two answers. I read a lot of nonfiction, so I'm including like a real person category in this and a fictional category. So I haven't read a lot of fiction, so I guess some of my newest favorite characters would have to either be Hazel or Frank from the Heroes of Olympus series. I really like them. I think they're very interesting. Got an interesting dynamic going on between them. I just really like Hazel and Frank because I think what they bring to the table in terms of their history, in terms of their abilities, is really interesting, and I just think that they're cute. That's the fictional answer to that. And then the nonfiction answer would have to be Jonathan Van Ness. He wrote Over the Top. I hadn't really watched much of Queer Eye. I'd only watched a couple of episodes. I still have only watched a couple of episodes. It's not really something that I'm super into. It's just not my genre. I thought his story was really interesting, separate from the work that he has done in Queer Eye. His story of just overcoming his own personal issues and fighting his own demons was just really compelling, and the person that he was able to turn out to be is really beautiful, and I really liked learning about his charity AIDS work as well. So yeah, I just thought that he was a really good human that I didn't really know much about at all. 10, if I can read my handwriting, is, a book that made you cry. So I haven't actually cried at any books so far this year. There's like two that got pretty close, and that would be Shout by Lori Halsey Anderson. The subject matter of this book is really intense, so if you're not up for like sexual harassment and sexual assault things, be careful. And this is also a poetry book, so I think that helped a lot about it. I really liked the images that were provoking. It was very, I don't know, it just brought something out of me that I was not expecting to get. I would be sitting in my classroom reading this and not paying attention to the lectures because that's just, it happens sometimes. And I'd be fighting back tears, and my sophomore engineering professor would be yelling at people for not paying attention. He never yelled at me though, because I was sneaky. And the only other one that comes close, The Only Plane in the Sky, yeah, that was very good. That was very good. For both of them, I would literally be fighting back tears. I was driving to my university and trying not to bawl, or more accurately, my dad was driving to university for me, because I can't drive. 11, a book that made you happy. Let me get it. And that would be, will my cats eat my eyeballs? Big Questions from Tiny Mortals About Death by Caitlin Doty. It's kind of morbid. It's about the subject of death. But the reason it made me happy is just because of the way Caitlin Doty writes things is amazing. And she does it in a very fun, accessible way. And yeah, I just really liked it. And it was written in a way that made it very easy to understand. I mean, it's really written for children. And the illustrations just put a smile on my face. Yeah, they're just cute little illustrations, and I really liked it, so there you go, put a smile on my face. But to be fair, most of the books I read are about really heavy, depressing topics, so yeah, not too many put smiles on my faces. It's just kind of the nature of nonfiction for the most part. The next is the most beautiful book that you bought so far this year. My book buying has kind of halted because of the whole coronavirus. But I picked this one up before coronavirus started, and that is Underland: A Deep Time Journey by Robert McFarlane. And it's just beautiful. The colors are beautiful. It's very vibrant. It's very eye-catching, and I loved it. And it's like a little rainbow. It really works well with the book. Really, really good book. Also, by the way, please read it. And the last question is books that you need to read by the end of the year. So I've got a lot of books that I have to read by the end of the year. I have my main project this year of reading the books that won the Goodreads Choice Award. There's 19 of them, and I've read 12 of them so far, so I only have about 7 left. The first one I have to read is The Testaments. Yeah, I have not read The Handmaid's Tale, and I feel like I need to read The Handmaid's Tale before I read The Testaments. I don't know when I'm gonna get my hands on the Handmaid's Tale audiobook or book, because that's only available through Audible. There's a big question mark on when The Testament is gonna happen, if it happens at all. But I have about 6 more months to get through these books. The next is Red, White, and Royal Blue, and that I am supposed to be reading for the Summer of Contemporary Readathon. Hope maybe by the time that this gets up there, I will have read that one, but as of the filming of this video, I have not. Next is The Five. I am about halfway through that before I had to return it to the library, so I'm working on it, but I have not finished it, so I don't think it counts. And Tony in the Kitchen is another one, and that's a cookbook, and I just haven't had a motivation to read a cookbook, so maybe I'll try it, maybe I won't. I don't know. I'll let you know. Next is The Wicked King, and that is a sequel to The Cruel Prince. So I have read The Cruel Prince earlier this month. So I did do that. I should get onto The Wicked King, but I think I'll start that after the Summer of Contemporary Readathon. Next is The Tyrant's Tomb. I still have to read that. I have T-minus 4 more books to finish before I can actually get to The Tyrant's Tomb. So I'm making amazing progress on reading those. I'm having a lot of fun rereading the Rick Riordan stuff. And the last one is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which I started reading a while back. And I was like, what the fuck? This is a really long children's book, and it's just all poems. I'm not a big poetry person, so it's taking me a bit to get through. Oh, one thing I want to say is my reading goal this year was to read 100 books in the year 2020. I knew that was an achievable goal, and I'm about 73 to 74 books through right now. I'm not really sure the exact number, and that is it for this video. Comment below on your thoughts on some of these questions or the books that I showed you. Let me know how your reading has been going so far in 2020. Has the coronavirus helped? Has it hurt? She's so sad. The rest of my family is not here, so she's so sad. So I think that's really it. Like, comment, subscribe. Say bye to the camera, baby. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. She's just like, I don't freaking care. I just want my family back. Oh, poor baby. She's so lonely. It's okay. We have each other. Well, bye-bye. I will see you next week. No! Stop! Why is this book all the way down here? God damn it. She likes resting her face in the crook of my arm. Hey, baby, ¿qué te pasa? ¿Qué te pasa? Stay in here. It's okay.